Right, this time the curtain does come down on the European football stage. Of course, we are building up to, and we're going to be making a wild prediction and looking at the potential lineups for the champions. We are correct, aren't we, Gonzo? That we're not going to get busted. We can't get busted, can we? We can't get demonetised for shite impersonations. Anyway, let's kick into it before you people switch off, before that key 30-second mark. Yes, it is the Champions League. It's in Munich at the Allianz Stadium. Sadly, no FC Bayern Munich taking part. Sadly, no Thomas Muller in the final. Instead, we've got Farmers League, PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, and Inter of Serie A, who didn't win Serie A. I'm not going to say bottle job because we don't like to criticise teams on this channel too much. However, similar to Ajax, I know it's not quite apples for apples, is it? Because all these leagues are very unique in their own right. They did have a lead though, didn't they? They did let that lead slip. And Napoli came in, didn't they? Right at the death. Antonio Conte with his 5th Serie A win. 3 of those, I believe, came at Juventus. But he's won one at Napoli in his very first season. Wow. Ticker tape, please. Ticker tape. Anyway, congratulations to Conte and Napoli. What can we expect from this final? Well, this is the 70th 7-0 Champions League final. Paris Saint-Germain, by the way, they're aiming for an historic treble. Yes, it'll be the first ever team from France, Ligue UNE-wise, that's ever done the treble in their own native country. They've wrapped up the league pretty comfortably. Was it last weekend? I believe it was last weekend. They beat Reims again. See that comment section box down below? You see it? You see it down there? It's got your name written all over it. Now, how about using that comment box, you write out phonetically how I'm supposed to pronounce that team name. Stade de Reims? Anyway, let me know. You know what to do, right? You know the drill. Type it down there. It feels like Reims. Anyway, recently, last weekend, PSG completed the double. So that's the COUPE de France. And again, they're aiming for a Champions League. They've never won a Champions League, by the way. They've got to the final. That was during COVID in the 1920 season and were beaten by Bayern Munich. Prior to that, their only ever trophy win in European football, this is a bit mind-blowing, was in 1996 when they won the European Cup Winners' Cup. No longer an item, unfortunately. Yeah, they won the European Cup Winners' Cup, beating RAPID Vienna. We've got that shirt there, look, that's that green of RAPID Vienna. As for their management team, if you look at Luis Enrique, he's won the Champions League before as a manager. He won that with Barcelona in 2014/15. He then went on to win the Super Cup and the World Cup, technically in the same calendar year. And you can follow the Club World Cup with us right here on this channel. We might even be going to some of the games. If we do, we'll let you know through the social media postings on that there, X and YouTube. Anyway, so Luis Enrique, he has won the Champions League as a manager, like I said, with Barcelona. When it comes to Inzaghi, runner-up against Manchester City. That was a couple of years ago, which again, fittingly, that was in a treble-winning year for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. The only other time, I suppose we should call this out, actually, this is only the second time that a team from France has met a team from Italy in a major final. The last one, quite controversial, by the way, and I just thought I'd call it out here. Well, this doesn't call out the controversy, but I'll certainly make a meal of it. This is the first ever competitive meeting between the two sides, which I find just quite mind-boggling, really, that their paths have never ever crossed. Anyway, first ever competitive meeting between Inter and Paris Saint-Germain. It's also the second European Cup / UEFA Champions League final, like I say, between an Italian and a French side. That was after Marseille beat Milan in 1993. Again, appropriately enough for a German football channel, that final was also held in Munich, but it was also held in quite controversial circumstances. You're welcome to go onto this Wikipedia page that I'll drop in the comment on the description box down below. Of course, you can leave your comments on it down below. I'm only reporting the detail as I find it on the internet, Your Honour. Yeah, Basil Bowley did score just before half-time, but apparently there was some drug taking going on. Chris Waddle, of all people. Again, don't shoot me down. I'm just going off what I read on the internet, what I see on Bing and Ask Jeeves. Don't shoot me down. Anyway, I'll put that link, like I said, in the description down below. So that was the last time that a French team dominated an Italian team. Well, it was the only other time in a final, and again, surrounded with controversy. That final, by the way, yeah, was like I say, was played in Munich. Let's have a look at the progress then. Let's look at Paris first, right? Because they are technically the home side, even though this final is being played, like I say, in Munich. They've played 16 matches, won 6 in this run-up to the Champions League final. They've won 10, drawn 1 and lost 5. They've taken quite a beating to get to the final, haven't they? I suppose a lot of that was in the quarter-final against Aston Villa. They have scored 33 goals, only conceded 50. I say only, that's half of the goals that they've scored, right? Conceded 15, kept 6 clean sheets. And their keeper, who has to be, there's some sort of golden glove recognition, right? That has to be for a goalkeeper in this tournament, despite the fact he's kept 6 clean sheets. But the number of saves that Donnarumma pulled off against our Arsenal in that semi-final was just outer-worldly. Like he was David Icke. That's a little reference that my more mature viewers might get. Yeah, former Coventry goalkeeper / alien or a lizard, reptile fascination, wasn't he? He was fascinated. He was convinced that the many world's leading figures were actually lizard people. Anyway, he pulled off some great saves back in his day. That's not one that saved his career, but 44 saves for Donnarumma all told in this run to the final. Most of those probably coming in that semi-final game against Arsenal, which is just untrue. Let's have a look at Internazionale then. Let's have a look at Inter. They've played 14 games, scored 26 goals, only conceded 11. And actually, a lot of those would be in that semi-final, that unbelievable semi-final with Barcelona, where we were treated to a proper spectacular, weren't we? That was a proper festival of football. I've seen a few people on their X commenting that really the final should have been between Barcelona and Inter, but we are where we are. And again, Paris Saint-Germain are on the cusp, beautiful word, cusp of making history with that historic treble, and actually being the first time that they're ever going to win the Champions League. So again, Inter conceded just 11 goals, kept 8 clean sheets, and 56 saves from Jan Sommer. Absolutely incredible. I suppose, yeah, it's hard to make apples for apples comparisons, and we will make the wild prediction later on in terms of the scoreline, but these are two very contrasting teams with styles. What we anticipate, and again, there's that comment section down below. You're welcome to let me know your thoughts and put me back well and truly in my box. But we see this final being played out stylistically. It's Paris Saint-Germain on the ball, dominating. João Neves tracking back, putting out fires, winning tackles, laying that ball onto some of the absolute ballers that they've got in that 4-3-3. Again, that's a favoured tactic that we know for sure for Luis Enrique. Like I say, João Neves putting out fires, winning that ball, laying it off to somebody like a Vitinha, or well, actually he needs to be on the ball as much as possible. Vitinha, Desiree Doué. Not only has he got an exotic name, but what an absolutely incredible baller Desiree Doué is. And of course you've got Ousmane Dembélé. There's another 7 names that I've not mentioned, let alone the fullbacks, which are absolutely brilliant. Hakimi, who has won a Champions League before. That was with Real Madrid. And I recall that Lucas Hernandez has also won a major European final. Or I might have got them mixed up. One of those won the Europa League with Atleti Madrid, Diego Simeone's team, and the other one won the Champions League. Again, you're welcome to correct me in the comment section down below. I'm highly excited, and I just wanted to call this one out. What would this do? Victory on Saturday would be Inter's 4th European Cup, drawing them level on the all-time honours board with Ajax. That would mean only Real Madrid, who have won 15, AC Milan have won 7. I love the fact that they have to write it out, almost like on on the old grandstand and the final score on the BBC with Des Lynam, and there would be a result like Manchester United 9, Ipswich 8-1, was it, against Ipswich, I believe, or maybe it was 9-1, and they have to write the word 9 and put it in brackets because it's like, this can't be true. Poor day for Craig Forrest in goal that day for Ipswich. Bayern Munich, of course, have won 6. Liverpool have won 6, and don't we know it? Don't we know it? Everyone should celebrate the successes. One day we will, won't we, Gonzo? We will. We'll celebrate success with Arsenal in Europe. Probably not in my lifetime. I'll probably be an AI bot by the time that happens. But anyway, Liverpool have won 6 and Barcelona have 5. So only those 5 teams have won more titles. 6 technically because of Ajax. Will have won more titles than Inter. But it would be a fantastic achievement. PSG then. This is just their run of fixtures recently going into the final. Only one loss, that was to Liam Rosenevere's Strasbourg. Liam Rosenevere, of course, I always do that wrong. I always get my arms wrong. Looks like I'm doing some sort of funky Euro dancing. Anyway, yeah. Liam Rosenevere, former manager of Hull City, unceremoniously shit-canned, despite the fact he finished 1 point outside of the playoffs a couple of years ago. And then, yeah, Hull have just sort of spiralled into this horrible mess that they are today. Anyway, back to PSG. Look at that. So yes, there was that win against Arsenal with that outstanding goal from Fabian Ruiz to get things going. A win over Montpellier, love saying that, Montpellier. A win over Auxerre, and that Coupe de France win against Reims. Again, confirmation there of that win, 3-0. 2 goals for Bradley Barcola in the final, and even Hakimi chipping in from fullback. These are the amount of goals that this team has scored this season, by the way. 147 across 57 games. And in the Champions League, they're averaging 18.6 shots per game. Again, we've already talked about this. They've scored 33 goals in 16 games. High number of pass completion rates as well. These are where the goals are coming from. Well, 3 players have broken double figures at least. And Ousmane Dembele, he's your goal scorer, isn't he? What a redemption arc he's been on the last few years. Yeah, look at him. This season, Champions League, 14 games, 8 goals, 4 assists, and 12 goal involvements from his striker. They're in their 14 games that he's played. And in all competitions that he's played in, actually, if we could we'll take out that UEFA Nations League game because that's a different competition. So that's 33 goals, 10 assists in 57 games, 44 goal involvements in the season. That is cracking for Ousmane Dembele. And then the danger man, the baller, the guy that we think's got a bright future that we really admire, Desiree Doué. Exotic names, only 19. Champions League, he's featured, what's that, 15 times out of the 16 games they've had. He's only missed 1 then. 3 goals, 2 assists. Just absolute baller. Absolute baller. 13 goals, 8 assists. So 21 goal involvements this season out of 56 games. Incredible. Let's have a quick look at Inter then. Of course, they did. I don't like to say bottle job because bottle job doesn't sound very fair, does it? And choking doesn't sound very fair either. Let's just say worthy runners-up. Worthy runners-up. He has won trophies though, right? Inzaghi. Give him some credit. Give him credit. He's building and he's constantly building. They're quite an ageing team though, aren't they, Inter? And I'm sure if someone like Nico or any Inter fan out there, again, you see that comments box down below, feel free to get either your frustrations, your anger or your admiration, let alone for this channel. And by the way, while I'm on that, double pivot, yeah, we always keep bringing this up. Use this, please. I beg of you. Well, not beg, but we are on the road to 100 subscribers, and we'd love to nail that before the Club World Cup starts on June 15th. So if you could use your double pivot, take this one, smash the like button, use this one, not to be offensive, but to hit the subscribe. If you could use this like Inzaghi will be doing when he's shouting at his troops to keep their shape and not to press too high, just to sit in deep and break when the timing is right, like a leopard, like a puma. Use that just to tell your friends, get them on down. Please, bring your friends on down. It's a safe space here. Real men cry too. That would be brilliant. Anyway, back to Inter then. So yeah, he is building with an ageing team. I can see some more transfers coming in this summer. It's going to be the last outing, isn't it, for someone like an Acerbi, possibly a Mkhitaryan, because these are old boys. Anyway, yeah, you can see there is a lot of green there, but actually, where did I want to call out? There was crucially 3 losses in a row, and that has hit the confidence, and that has ultimately cost them the Serie A in Italy. They also got knocked out of the Coppa Italia at the semi-final stage by Milan, who then got beat by Bologna in the final. Talk about trophy droughts being ended for a number of clubs across Europe this season. Absolutely, just absolutely brilliant that Bologna. Well, not brilliant, Bologna beating Milan, because we like Milan. And the goals. Only 2 players have broken through the double figure mark. Marcus Thuram, son of Lilian, and then Lautaro Martinez, and even Dumfries. He scored 2 of those, right? 2 of those 7 came in the semi-final against Barcelona, as well as an assist for the first goal. Here is Marcus Thuram, like we say, 14 goals in Serie A, 4 assists, so 18 goal involvements in Serie A. And in the Champions League, 4 goals, 1 assist. So 18 goals, 5 assists, 23 goal involvements this season. Played a lot of games. I suppose you could take out then games for France, I suppose. Yeah, they're going to be relying on him big time. And here is Denzel. There's the Dutchman. God, can you imagine him going to Liverpool as well as part of Dutch pool? Frimpong on one side, Dumfries on the other. That would be quite funny, wouldn't it? I suppose they do sort of both play on the right-hand side. They could play behind each other. Not like that. It's not that kind of channel. Anyway, yeah, there is Dumfries. Look at that. In the Champions League, 2 goals. They were in the same game against Barcelona and 3 assists. He has clocked in with goals as well. Again, playing for the Dutch national team with Jeremy Frimpong. I believe that's happening, right? I believe he's already been for his medical. I've not seen it anywhere on that X. Or no one's knocked on my door and told me, or no one's told me when I was queuing for a bus that Jeremy Frimpong has signed Serge Gnabry style for Liverpool just yet, but it'll probably happen, right? Because we're in the off-season now, and we're building towards that Club World Cup, which again you can watch with us right here. We might even be going to some of those games, following the likes of FC Bayern Munich and Dortmund in Jamaica. Anyway, there'll be daily content regardless of what happens. Right, back to Dumfries. And yeah, this was... Can you imagine if Inter would have won this game? Pedro, remember him? Used to play for Chelsea once upon a time up front. That was a controversial late penalty, which, imagine if they'd have won that game. They go on and beat Como in the last game. They could have done it. They could have pulled off that win, but sadly it wasn't to be. Anyway, still a Champions League final. These are the predicted lineups, by the way. Let's have a look at this Hakimi. Let's have a look at Paris Saint-Germain first. Donnarumma likely to be in goal. We know, like we say, it's a 4-3-3. Donnarumma in goal. Your right back of Hakimi, left back of Nuno Mendes, along with William Pacho Man, and Marquinhos, the veteran, 30 years old. In the centre of that midfield, João Neves, along with Ratinha. Well, I suppose it's a 3, isn't it, really? But yeah, it's still the heart of the midfield. It's a nice balance, isn't it, of grit and vision and artistry. They are. Clock that one. João Neves, Vitinho and Fabian Ruiz. Again, he won the Euros with Spain last year. And then we've got their 3 up front. On the right-hand side, it's our man, Desiree Doué. 25 goals and an assist in his first season last year. 50 million euros. So they paid the Rats of Rennes. Shout out to you there, Omega Luke and Dad. So Desiree on the right. Kavalashvili, well, he loves rolling his socks down, doesn't he? Jack Grealish style on the left. And then Ousmane Dembele. And again, they're making claims here on 90minute.com that surely he'll bag that Ballon d'Or if they go on and win the final. Here's Inter, here's the old man of Serbia, like I say, is he 37, 38, I believe? Yeah, he's getting on a bit, isn't he? Anyway, incredible effort, by the way. Jan Sommer in goal. What did we say he pulled off? Was it 56 saves? That was right. 56 saves on the route to the final. He replaced Onana. Oh, Onana. Ooh, just for a fraction of the price. Right, so you got that back three, which is a favoured tactic. Well, very popular in Italy, very popular in the Bundesliga as well, back three. Anyway, Jan Oriol Bissac, who actually has been called up once again by Julian Nagelsmann for Die Mannschaft for Deutschland, for the Germany national team. They're playing Portugal in the UEFA Nations League semi-final. That's also being played in Munich. Like I said in the previous video, I'm sure there's some sort of brown envelope been passed around between Uli Hoeneß and UEFA to try and bag all these major competitions. Anyway, if they win that game against Portugal, that means they'll be playing the final against either of Spain or France. And we might very well be at that semi-final next week in Munich. Again, TBD, we'll let you know in the socials. We'll post on X and that there, YouTube. Anyway, Bisek, Francesco Acerbi and Bastoni. There's your solid back three. On the right, we've got Denzel Dumfries. Like we say, he scored 2 and came up with an assist in that scintillating semi-final, or one of the legs at least, with Barcelona. He's on the right. We've got Di Marco on the left. He did struggle though, didn't he? He did struggle against Barcelona, against the pace of the likes of Rafinha. Who else is in that team? Rafinha, obviously Lamine Yamal, Fernando Torres, Lopez. He did struggle slightly in that team. Anyway, so yeah, Dumfries on the right, Di Marco on the left, and then the three in the middle that hold it all together. Again, similar balance of grit, steel, artistry, although they don't get forward much, do they? No. Again, this is the way that Inter like to play. They're happy sitting in deep. You could call it a low block. They don't do much high pressing. They sort of let teams come onto them. They nick the ball, they turn it over, and then they steam up down the flanks and make sure that they've got some of the midfielders running in. I mean, Barella's got some legs, right? But they're relying heavily on goals coming from, well, the interplay between Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram up front. But yeah, you have got Çalhanoğlu. I always get that one wrong. You have got Hakan Çalhanoğlu alongside Nicola Barella and the old man Mkhitaryan, who did once play for the Arsenal. And then again up front, Martinez and Thuram. So there's your expected lineups. You're here for a prediction. Which way do you think we're going to go with it? We've gone with a very narrow but life-affirming 1-0 win for Inter, which of course would be their 4th Champions League and would put them high in that list, that pantheon of all-time Champions League winners. Yeah, we feel 1-0. We feel that PSG will dominate the possession. They'll bomb forward with that likes of Desiree, Kavalashvili, Ousmane Dembele, all being fed by Vitinha. They'll flood forward, but the old boys of Inter will stand tall and they'll break and they'll counter, and it'll likely be a set-piece goal because, of course, Inter are the set-piece kings in this year's Champions League. Yeah, so we see Inter winning 1-0 in the 70th Champions League final. Let's have a quick look at some of the socials to round us out. This was an interesting graphic from the official Champions League X post. What pattern do you notice here? I suppose what jumps out is that it's a lot of designated home teams that have gone on to lift that famous trophy. Yeah, a lot of famous. I mean, Real Madrid have absolutely dominated. I'm not sure if that's the point they're trying to make, but anyway, yeah, if you're the home side, does that mean it's going to be PSG's year? Is that what they're hinting at? Are they secretly Parisians working away in the social media team? Could be. Anyway, there is the trophy. Like I say, it's proudly on display. It looks gorgeous, being illuminated there in the Allianz Arena. Again, sadly, no FC Bayern Munich, no Thomas Muller getting his mitts on it, the Bavarian maestro, because sadly they were put out of the competition by one of the finalists, by Inter. And then there's this rumour, of course. Patrick Berger, trusted source for us, Sky reporter, covers all the transfers. This broke the other day that allegedly, and again, allegedly, Your Honour, that once the final's done and dusted, regardless of whether he wins or not, he's going to back a €25 million contract managing Al Hilal. First of all in the Club World Cup, but then ultimately in the Saudi League. Yeah, look, Simone Inzaghi, 49, is in advanced talks with Al Hilal to become their new head coach. The Saudi club sees the Italian as the top candidate to succeed Jorge Jesus. What a name. And it would make him the highest paid coach in the world. Again, rumours are that it's a €25 million contract for Inzaghi. No agreement. He's paused naturally because he wants to see the job out, or at least he wants to win that Champions League final. Yeah, fascinating. Anyway, what do you think about everything you've learnt today? The 70th final, PSG aiming to win it for their very first time and complete a historic treble. Yeah, they'll be the first French side in history to have completed a treble. We just see it going the other way. We see Inter, the old dogs, hanging in. Yes, there'll be lots of ferocious attacking from that young, dynamic, powerful PSG team, but we see the old dogs holding strong and nicking it with a set-piece goal. That's what we think. What are your thoughts? Again, as ever, you know the drill. Comment section down below, your name written all over it. Let us know your predictions. It's 3 characters. It's 30 seconds worth of work. Of course, we're getting a lot of comments recently, which is brilliant. People really letting the pros flow. So feel free to leave a short comment or as long a comment. Also, again, if you could help us, have a think about it, but fuck it, don't think too long. Double pivot, yeah? Help us. One of those digits, smash that like button. Second one, hit the subscribe, and then you can shout out loud like Simone Inzaghi will be doing with his family when it rains down with that Saudi money when he takes off, having won the Champions League for the first time. He has won a Super Cup in his past. Of course, he's won Scudettos, but he hasn't won the Champions League as a manager. So we think it's gonna go that way again. You're welcome to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, but please do support us. Like I say, we are on the rush to 100 subscribers, our first milestone. We've only been going for 3 months. Like I say, it's a relatively new channel. The passion's there. I do it full time. I'm committed. I want to make sure that you get the best experience possible. Again, your feedback's always welcome. Let me know what we do wrong, what we could be doing better, what you're enjoying. A few people commenting recently that they're enjoying these videos. They think it's insightful and entertaining, which is exactly what we're aiming for, isn't it, Gonzo? That's what we're aiming for. Anyway, comment section down below. Let us know your predictions. We're going 1-0 with an Inter win. Yeah, get your drinks, get your snacks, enjoy the final. We'll see you on the other side for a reaction. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao.